Good morning. Welcome to the Dr. Shannon live show as we're giving everyone a chance to cue in to the notification of live. We are back with our What Do Healthy Couples Do tip of the week. So today, we're going to be talking about something that comes to all of us as a no-brainer, especially for Christian couples or couples of faith, because healthy couples either pray for or pray with their partner. A lot of us have heard the kind of coined verbiage of couples that pray together, stay together. There's truth behind that. There's some real evidence and research that shows that when couples share intimate space and bring God into their relationship in this kind of way, accessing a power greater than themselves um, into their most intimate space and relationship connection points, um, actually share a level of relationship satisfaction deeper than couples that don't have this aspect. So, if we know this to be true, and we know that it can be remediation, it can be resiliency, it can be prevention, it can be health and wellness, it can deepen connection. I mean, all the attributes, there's no downfalls. Then why do couples have a difficult time doing this step? So, listen, it is hard to live in front of your most personal person, feeling as if we're worthy to initiate prayer, especially when we're in a really stuck place in our relationship, or maybe we're not in the best version of ourselves, always behind personal doors of home, and we don't feel as if our partner will receive us in that kind of way. But yet we feel also this pressure, especially you men, a lot of times in our faith communities, feeling like they're supposed to take lead in this. And I'm going to just say that that's really fantastic if you want to, but it doesn't have to start that way. A lot of times women want that to happen, but I would suggest that we try to start this process by taking a step of lowering these bars of expectations, opening the conversation of curious questions. What would make this easier for us? How would we go about this? And let me give you some encouraging, maybe, steps to take. Start with those curious questions. Is this something that you would want to do in our relationship? Is this something that is important to you? What kind of gets in the way of us doing this? How can we make this easier? When would we like to maybe consider doing this? How often? How? Just begin with just entering it without judgment, without any kind of condescension or any expectations, just creating an open space of discussing it. Then, as we move to the second step, maybe just start with just a simple question. How would you like me to pray for you? Asking your partner, what are the areas that you would like for me to pray for you about? And whether you do that individually away from one another, or whether you then take it to the third step, maybe entering into the prayer at that moment. So, listen, this is hard. If you have come from maybe a cultural community of, spiritual practices, praying out loud is not comfortable. Praying out loud in a personal setting, especially with your partner, when you feel so inadequate or maybe nervous or fear of judgment, Then start with just silent prayer. Just after you exchange, the areas that your partner is telling you that they want prayer for, then just give a quiet couple of moments and just say a silent prayer for your partner. And then if you want to eventually, as you become comfortable, saying a couple of sentences out loud. You don't have to use any eloquent words. You don't even have to throw in, scripture. You can just use their words that they have already given you. And it will become more and more and more comfortable. I would encourage you to start with the curious questions. Um, Being able to separate the other aspects of the relationships that aren't necessarily going smoothly or going well. Not everything has to have uh, be all lined up in its proper space for couples to think that they can add this spiritual element to their relationship. The sun and the moon and stars do not have to all be perfectly aligned. In fact, a lot of times when they aren't perfectly aligned, this is a great time to add in this element because you're asking for something outside of yourself to enter in and maybe even breathe a fresh breath of air into that space together. So I'd encourage with the curious questions, asking the simple question, how, maybe even having separate times of prayer away from each other, eventually maybe a quiet space of silent prayer with each other, and eventually moving into the comfort zone of a couple of sentence breath prayers in each other's audience and partnership out loud. So that's your healthy tip of the day, of the week. Welcome back to the healthy tip of what couples do weekly show, and we will be with you next week. Let me know how you're doing on those steps.